Okay, we are now recording. Laura Goldward. Let me share screens. Not me, you. Laura Goldware, this class is yours.
Good morning, y'all. My name is Lord Goldward, Honorable Lord Goldward. I am a obelisk herald for the kingdom. And this morning's class is going to be on using Inkscape and vector artwork for creating heraldic art. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start sharing a screen, and I'm going to show you the tools that we're using. The first tool that we're going to be using, the primary tool that we're going to be using is a program called Inkscape. Now, Inkscape is completely free. It's a shareware program. It will work on all major platforms: Windows, iOS, and Linux. Uh, the other program we'll be using is GIMP. GIMP is another open source software used for all major, you can do all sorts of editing and such with it. And then the resource page that we're going to be using is going to be heraldicart.org. Heraldicart.org it started off as the Penzic Traceable Art Project. Basically, they've gone through and they've taken and they've created clean versions of pretty much all the major elements of heraldic art and made them and then converted them into PDFs and JPEGs and vector art graphics, making it easy to create heraldic art with it. The reason you'd want to use something like this is for not only do you want to is it for things like if you want to create line art for submissions, or line or even color art for submissions once color art is accepted digitally, you'll be able to do that. Also, what you can use it for are things like Zazzle. Zazzle is a print on demand company that will print things like graphics on cups, teas, that type of thing. Let me show you some of the items that I meant to. And Zazzle, like I said, you can print up cards, cups, tapestries. This was just my orders. I'm just going to show you a couple of things that I've done with this. This is heraldic stone coaster that I did up using the artwork. Signs and tapestries. So you can make large tapestries for heraldic art that you can use to pin up onto your tents, to cut fabrics with. Pretty much anything you want to do, you can do with Zazzle. Anyways, like I said, all the artwork on traceable art project is completely open. Is completely open. There's no restrictions on the artwork. Um, so it's free to use for any project that you're going to do. So what you can do is you can sit there and you can basically start off with, you need to create a device. You can start off with any kind of field that you want. And this is example Crucilli. And now I can see an outline PNG, black and white, gray PNG, black and white SVG. Also, if I want it as a badge, so it'll do that. So if I were to go to gray, now you see this, and I can save this image and edit it. I'm going to go ahead and I've got a couple of images already loaded down. I'm going to go ahead and load these up into Inkscape. Now this is not going to go into a full detail of all the features of Inkscape and everything else. This is going to go over basics. This is how to do it. It's something you'll end up playing with as you go down the road. But let's say I want to do a checky, checky background, and I want it to be vert and or. So I can go ahead and I can select there, and I've gone ahead and there. I've now created a checking or background that I can then put my artwork onto. And I said that I wanted a pale in it. So file open. And this is a pale. Okay. I can then take this pale. I'm going to edit, copy, edit, paste, object, edit, undo. Okay, layer. Let me just do it this way. Edit, add layer, add, edit, paste. Now I've gone ahead and I just need to basically go through and let's say I want to make that pale green. There. Now I've decided to make that pale green, and now I want to go ahead and I want to put a charge on there. Let's say, let's see, let's pick a charge. The charge we're going to do is, let's say I'm going to put an on. Step from period practice. Open, edit, copy, undo. Layer, add layer. Normally what I try and do is I try and keep my various elements on different layers because it's easier to manipulate when you do that. Select all. There. Now what I've done is I've created this Ankh, this device like this. Now, once you get this to where you want it, and it looks the way you want it, what you can do is you can go through and you can export these. Well, first off, you want to save your vector. You always go ahead and manipulate the image. It's better to manipulate it from the SVG because a vector graphic is what's called a scalable graphic. Instead of PNGs and JPEGs and such, which create the image by pixels, a vector creates it by mathematics. So if you decide to scale this thing very large or very small, it will calculate that down and then scale the image properly so you don't have any pixelization. Now, but whenever you need to use it for artwork, say for sending to Zazzle or sending to using it for print or anything, sending it to print or anything like this, you'll want to have it as at least a PNG. PNG is one of the most common forms. The advantage of PNG is that it allows you to have clear backgrounds. So you can actually export this as the shield shape instead of having a white background around the edges of the shield. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that. Export PNG. Now to export the PNG, you're going to go ahead and you're going to choose the size that you want it to be. And let's assume if I'm using, there's two common ways to do this. If I want this to be for online only, just something for like a icon or a picture on a website, then I want to set this DPI to 72 and then just set the width to whatever I want it to be. So let's say I want the width to be 200 by 117. And then I'll just 72. Oh, actually, that doesn't let you do it that way. And that only lets you do it that way. Okay, never mind. I forgot that. Let's say 500. inches, 1.7. Now, if I want to set to 72, export. Now, oh, sorry about this. A little technical difficulty.
For those who don't know, he's using a borrowed computer. His crashed the other night.
Yeah. .png. And so if I show the whole page, because what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have you have it for whatever you want. If you want just one part of it, like if I want just that, then I would do selection. If I want the whole drawing, then I can select the whole drawing, and then I can export the Ankh of the device. Now, now I have my vector artwork right there. And if you look on the screen here, it's hard to tell, but you can see that there's a clear background in this picture. If I were to put this onto, whatever, you see it's clear in the background. This is going to be useful for things like for items such as when you want to set this onto a web page or whatever, and you don't want that white background on the device. Now, if you're going to go ahead and you want to create an image for, if you want to adjust the image for say print, and you know that you need to have the image, the print image size 5 inches wide by 7 inches wide by 7 inches high, let's just say. And that's not going to be right, but that's not going to be the right dimensions. But let's just assume that is. Now, I need to, because I'm using it as print, you want to set that DPI to 600 DPI. Because anything less than that is going to be pixelated when it comes out into print. This includes both printing onto paper and printing onto other materials. You just want to just stick with 600 DPI for any print medium, 72 DPI for electronic. And now, cancel, Ankh, paper, export. Now, this is much bigger, so that I can go ahead and clear. I can now use this for print medium. It's hard to tell from here, but it does actually, it is a higher DPI. So I can then go ahead and upload this to, I can now upload this to Zazzle. Let's say as soon I go into Zazzle and it'll ask me to upload media. I just choose this medium from my computer and upload it. Let me show you real quick how you would do that. example. Okay, let's so I want to create a coffee cup. So now add an image. I can actually upload images. Go to the desktop. I go to Ankh paper. Now I've got a coffee cup with my device on it. And then you just go through the process to order it. The next device, the next program that you're going to end up using is going to be will be GIMP. GIMP is basically using it for like when you need to create different formats of the image. So in this case, I can now take that image that I created, and as soon as this loads up, now again, there's a lot more than you can do with these with this software than what I use it for. I'm pretty much a beginner user for this, but I use it for just like the basic stuff. File, open. Okay, so I've got this now. New layer. Okay, let's say I want to create it as, I don't know. I want to just throw a background image onto it. And I'm just going to go and print screen. Print screen. Thanks. Paste as new layer. Now I've got this layer here. I can add this. I can do whatever. Let's say I needed it to be below here, or I want to use it with a picture of myself with my arms. I can add a picture of myself. Doesn't really matter what I end up doing with it. And oh, this is, I need to crop this because I left this image. I can go to crop to selection. There we go. Now that's a little more, cleaned up. Now I can, instead of saving, I can save this and I can overwrite the original image. I can either overwrite on paper.png, or I can export as, and I can now change it to any format I want to, pretty much. PDF, JPEG, GIF, pretty much anything that I would ever need to do with it. Software that you need to have something weird, some strange bitmap or whatever. Most of the time, you're only going to ever need to deal with the PNG for 90% of your stuff, but you may deal with a piece of software that doesn't play well with the PNG. It will require, like, for example, if you were to do, if once we get to submitting artwork electronically, it has to be in a PDF format, in a 300 DPI PDF format. So I can go ahead and I can export this as a PDF. Now I can save my heraldic art as a PDF directly. Again, there's a lot more that you can do with this than I'm covering. This is just the extreme basics. At this time, what I'm going to do is answers. So I'll go ahead and I'll open up the chat, and I'm going to go ahead and turn off. Stop sharing. I'm going to go ahead and turn off screen sharing. And if there's any questions, please feel free to either ask in the chat or go ahead and just open up your mic and ask.
I have a question, Goldweird. This is Jesmond. Is there a way, if you did art in GIMP, to kind of reverse what you did? Is there a way to do art in GIMP or in Paint and turn it into a VSG in Inkscape?
Yes, let me show you that. I'd forgotten to do that. So,
thank you.
So what I can do is I can now go ahead and file.
Don't forget to start screen sharing again.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, shoot. Sorry. Share. So for this is what's now what I want to do is I say I want to go ahead and I want to import an image. Import and well, let's do it this way. I want to import this onc and I want to clean this onc up. Now this gives me my basics of what I want to do, but I can't do anything more than just scale it, whatever, and you'll see it looks pixely. But what I can do now is I can go to this object, and this is a PDF. This is a PNG. I can go ahead into object, path, trace bitmap. This is going to be your major friend right here. And what I can do is I can do, you want to do multiple scans, and you'll select it and it'll update it. And I can tell it to be color, update now. And normally what I do is I select smooth and optimize, because you'll end up with layers of this. Now you'll see, okay, now I've got this ankh. Well, now I'm going to break this apart. Now I've got just the ankh here. I can get rid of that. Now it's a scalable, now it's a vector art. So now, because of this, I can now scrunch it, do anything I want to with it, because now I've converted it into a vector and it doesn't have that pixelization. And you can do this with any image. And you can, what I normally recommend is try and get the image that you want to vectorize as clean as possible. No extra backgrounds. If you have backgrounds, you can drop it out. But then you can break it apart and get the elements that you want out of the image. As you can see, this is delete. So there's my symbol if I want. But that's how you can import an image into Inkscape, convert it into an SVG, and then use it for whatever you're wanting to do. And now if I were to take this ankh, I can now put this ankh onto the other artwork. To say, I just copy here, I go back into this, and I can paste it. View, zoom, drawing. And you know what? I actually, let's just say I needed 2 ankhs upside down. Object, flip. And I need this green. And, oh, I can't see it very well, so I'm going to go ahead and make it set stroke. Now I can see the ankh upside down. Whatever you want to play with. I can easily add images to it, rotate it freely, that type of thing. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it did. Thank you very, very much.
Oh, no problem. Any other questions?
Can I interject something, Goldweird?
Uh-huh.
For those who are not at all familiar with the Inkscape or the GIMP, you mentioned that they are free. They're easily found by doing a Google search, and you can download both of those free, because I've done that recently thanks to Goldweird introducing me to these programs. So that's one of the advantages of both.
I'm actually putting in the links to the both software.
Thank you.
Those are the 2 sites, and then the heraldic art. Those are your 3 sites. So that's where you get the program. Like I said, it's pretty, and it'll work with all the major OSs. They have it available on Roll App if you want to run it on a web-based version, but Roll App is something you have to pay for. But it's there as an option if you need something that's web-based. Normally I just, any computer will do. You don't even have to have the fastest computer or the best graphics in the world to run it. I've run it on cheap Linux boxes. You just don't want to get it too small because it is a lot of scalable stuff. So you can end up bogging down your device, your system, if you've got too old of a processor speed.
Okay. Question. Heraldic clip art. I'm
Mhm.
sorry, not heraldic clip art. The Pensic Traceable Art Project has a lot of work being done to make most of them period reproductions, although there are several old ones that aren't. Can you use something like the Pictorial Dictionary of Heraldry by Master Bruce, which is the standard reference that we have to use this, or something that's far more common when people do Google searches like heraldic clip art?
Okay, so let me show you. This is basically exactly the same steps as before. Let me go ahead and go back to screen sharing. Screen share. So let's say heraldic clip art. Let's just say hypothetically, images. Let's say I want this eagle. And I'm going to use this because it's going to be the biggest pain in the backside because it's got colors and everything else in it. Yeah, okay. So I can actually copy this image. Now I can go right into Inkscape and I can go to paste. Now I've got this image in paste. Now this is just a PNG or whatever. Now I can take this object, go to path, trace bitmap. I'm going to go and do this. Multiple scans, smooth. I want to remove the background, update. Oops. Colors, update. Okay. Now I've gone ahead and I've created a vector artwork, but I need to adjust this. I need this to be blue. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to make this yellow. Or, well, no, I said blue. So I'll make it blue. And hypothetically, I can do this to where if I only want this, or I only want the line art. Now I can take this line art and I can play with it. I don't want this extra stuff. I want to delete all this extra stuff. But as you're doing this, you're going to see more and more details. This isn't as good of an example. Some of these will turn around and actually give you better art, better line work, cleaner line work. But if I wanted to say use this, and then I can actually set the stroke on here. Now I've got this eagle with all of its line work, and I can drop off all these other eagles that I no longer need, because now I've got a clean image. It is going to be kind of, experiment to see what works, what doesn't. But now, as you can see, I've got roughly this. You'll get some, because it's smoothing, you'll get some loss of image when you do it this way, but it's not impossible to do this. And again, this is a detailed image that's going to give you lots of levels to play with, but you can do the same thing with any even simple artwork. Does that answer the question?
Thank you.
Goldweird, I have another question because I see our time, and I remember at the beginning of class, this is about when you wanted to wrap it up. On a couple of things, because I am still so new, I'm not exactly sure what you were clicking on some parts. If I get into trouble afterwards trying to play on my own, can I reach out to you after class?
Oh, of course. There's lots of tutorials on it, but yeah, feel free anytime you get to it, that you don't see, if you're not sure of what something does, just ask. And sometimes when you click on things, it won't do it just right. Let's say, for example, I need to erase a part of an object. Sometimes when you use some of the options, it doesn't click right. So, it's like, no, this should work. No, the reason why it's not working is because there's actually a second layer that's picking up, so it doesn't play with that. So it doesn't delete that section. But yeah, there's easy things to do.
You just described exactly a problem I was having. I was trying to do the trace bitmap, and I got it to work once. And then a couple of days went by, and I'm like, okay, let me try this on this new piece of art I created. And I went back in there, and I think I did it exactly as I did it before, and it wasn't working. And I tried it 3 days in a row, and it still wasn't working. And I finally quit. So I'm going to try it again with the instructions you gave today. But I truly appreciate that, Goldweird. Thank you very much.
Yeah, there'll be times when you'll get things that will be like, oh, well, I need to delete, like, for example, let me go back to the screen share real quick. Let's say, for example, I want to make this eagle head. Okay, I'm gonna make this eagle kiboshed. Now because this is all just one, I can select this, and then I can select this. Now, path, and I can go to difference. Now you see that I've gone ahead and now I've gone ahead and I've got it down to where I'm just the eagle. If I want just, let's say hypothetically, I just want the eagle's eyebrows, I can actually break this apart. And that's under break apart. Now, each item is a separate piece that I can break apart and take just an element of it. Really useful for when you've got little parts of heraldry that you want to sit there and mess with. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to end the class now then. Thank you for sitting in on this class. Hopefully I didn't confuse you all completely. And you guys enjoy the rest of the college.